Hi, it's Tom taking a look at Kingdom Come Deliverance on console. As a debut project from Czech developer Warhorse Studios, this ambitious, crowd-funded RPG takes great inspiration from the Elder Scrolls series. Realised using Cryengine technology, as also seen in Prey and Homefront the Revolution, it offers a similarly huge canvas of terrain to explore. From the beautiful, dense woodlands to idyllic early 15th century European villages, there's a grounded, almost photorealistic look to the world. The big difference next to a game like Skyrim though, is the swapping out of fantasy elements for a historical setting. Dragons and magic are out, and the focus here is on a brutal power struggle in the Kingdom of Bohemia. The technology is what we're here for today though. Between PS4, PS4 Pro, Xbox One and Xbox One X, it's fair to say I went into this one with some worry for performance. After all, a Cryengine game like Homefront the Revolution struggled at launch, with a likewise open world design easily bringing frame rates to under 20 FPS. Thankfully in that case, Despie Studios improved the game immeasurably since then, and it's in much better shape. The question for Kingdom Come Deliverance then is, does it fall into a similar trap at launch, or with a 22GB day one patch installed, do all platforms get a smooth ride? Visually speaking, the situation is straightforward on console. Ultimately, all four platforms share similar strengths and pitfalls, where texture resolution is identical. In fact, the same goes for shadow quality, motion blur sampling, and draw distances on most objects and scenery. Unfortunately, the game's title screen doesn't give a great first impression on any format. Here we have a base PS4, and it's hard to ignore the low resolution or entirely missing texture work on the sides of the castle. No matter how long you wait, it never materializes. The fact is, this is how the title screen looks on every machine. Be that the PS4 Pro, the regular Xbox One here, or even the top-end Xbox One X, this is what you get. And these low resolution assets pop up across the game on the whole, if you stop and look closely. So yes, while the game does have some wonderful high points visually, there's a lot of rough edges too. I mean, exploring the game's cities and forests is easily the best part of the experience, but these are also the areas most spoilt by heavy pop-in. Whether that's a base PS4 or PS4 Pro or either Xbox One machine, you'll see trees abruptly appear at the same level of detail threshold. Equally, in big cities, you'll spend a huge chunk of time walking past buildings with a glaring low-res texture, just waiting to switch over to the higher grade equivalent. It sticks out like a sore thumb, and even the Xbox One X version doesn't solve it, with textures still flickering on and off as you walk towards it. In that sense, visual settings are largely identical, and while PS4 Pro and Xbox One have a slightly further draw distance compared to base consoles when it comes to building detail, it isn't a huge difference overall. Perhaps the biggest dividing point is the native resolution though. In order, a standard Xbox One gives a native resolution of 1600 by 900. Next, the PlayStation 4 pushes a matching 1600 by 900 figure, with a few extra benefits I'll cover later. At 900p a piece, the base machines are a match for image quality, and as far as I've tested, there's no sign of a dynamic resolution at stress points either. Regular PS4 owners do get one extra feature in improved ambient occlusion. Compared to a standard Xbox One, where shade is relatively stripped back between objects, you get a visibly fuller look on Sony's machine. Moving on to the enhanced PS4 Pro version meanwhile, you get a boost to a native 1920 by 1080. Image quality is obviously much improved at 1080p for avoiding any extra scaling, but check this out, ambient occlusion is again improved on PS4 Pro to give an even fuller look next to a regular PS4. What naturally follows is the Xbox One X version, once more pushing the resolution higher to 2560 by 1440. That's a native 1440p with ambient occlusion roughly between PS4 and PS4 Pro quality. So 900p on PS4 and Xbox One, 1080p on PS4 Pro, and 1440p on Xbox One X. Besides a few small differences in terrain pop-in for the enhanced consoles, plus upgraded ambient occlusion, there isn't much to separate the four machines. Texture filtering is sadly really low quality wherever you look, and desperately needs a bump to 8 or 16 times anisotropic filtering. Meanwhile, you may spot a few small texture differences, but that mainly stems from delayed pop-in, especially on a base Xbox One. Once they're all loaded, all assets are the same. Speaking of loading, it's worth making a quick point here. This being an open world game in the vein of GTA or Skyrim, you'll be sitting through a lengthy initial loading screen. Problem is, you'll be waiting up to 2 minutes to just get to the title screen on a standard PS4 for example, before selecting your save from there and queuing another lengthy wait. So I pitted all 4 machines against each other to see which gets past this initial load fastest. Using the stock drives on each console, there is a clear winner though. Xbox One X gets the job done in 53 seconds, landing at the title screen 20 seconds ahead of the base Xbox One, which comes in second place. PS4 Pro meanwhile takes almost a minute and a half, while the base PS4 trails the pack at almost 2 minutes. This sequence follows once you actually load a game too, but thankfully you don't have to wait quite as long. Frustratingly, this means another 28 seconds wait on an Xbox One X, and up to 44 seconds on the worst performer, again the base PS4. Now as a one-off loading screen, it's not bad at all, given the world is one seamless sprawl you can walk across from end to end. But supposing you use the fast travel system in the game, this is roughly the sort of time frame you can expect on each console, and that could affect your experience of the game. Again though, these are standard stock drive results, and playing Kingdom Come from a faster installed or even external drive could make a difference here. Which brings us on to performance. To kick off, let's look at the worst offenders in frame rate, the regular PS4 and Xbox One. Right off the bat, it's clear there's a problem in frame pacing on both machines, simply due to the game capping at 31 frames per second rather than a typical 30. That single digit change may sound small, but it means that every second you get 2 consecutive unique frames, which creates an uneven pattern to motion and a stutter as a result. A straight 30 FPS cap would fix this, but clearly Cryengine defaults to this number. In fact, it's something we've seen already in Homefront: The Revolution on console, and even Rise on Xbox One. On the plus side, Homefront actually solved this completely on patch 1.08, adding a straight 30 FPS cap, which goes to show it could be possible to fix here. It's a nuisance, since this is the best case scenario on PS4 and Xbox One right now, when that frame rate reading hits its highest point. Now Kingdom Come can run at this number for a good majority of the time while travelling between towns, with streaming stutters creeping in every now and then. What really divides the two are cutscenes, battlefields, and big inner city areas with lots of NPCs. Similar to The Witcher 3's Novigrad City, neither of these current gen consoles take easily to complex CPU driven areas, and it affects both in different ways. PS4, for example, struggles with the opening horse chase by a margin of 3 to 4 frames per second, likely due to the extra ambient occlusion in use on Sony's machine. These big open battles and cities appear to take a slightly larger toll on PS4 overall, though the situation is reversed in this route through a city later on, with the base Xbox One coming off worse. It's worth noting that simply walking through this area gives a much better result. It's just the act of running that kills performance on both PS4 and Xbox One. Forcing the engine to stream assets quickly, whether that's on your own 2 feet or on horseback, is an easy way to cut performance closer to 20 FPS. Then there's the flip side. In-engine cutscenes and areas with lots of rain easily give a worse readout on Xbox One. There's no contest, and it's these intensive scenes that push both machines to their lowest points, whether that's 17 frames per second on Xbox One or 20 FPS on PS4. Consistently, it's Sony's console that gets the better deal here, and in general there are fewer streaming hitches on PS4 to worry about. Again, it mirrors the launch day state of Homefront: The Revolution. While the theme of these games are vastly different, the engine work and the resulting frame rate have quite a few parallels. That's the base console performance then, but how do the enhanced PS4 Pro and Xbox One X stack up? Well, the good news is, despite their resolution boosts, they still get much smoother results than base consoles. Running through a similar gamut of tests shows a tighter hold at that top 31 FPS reading, whether horse riding or travelling through big cities. Even so, this is still running between 20 to 30 FPS when the engine pushes lots of NPCs. Our run around the castle barracks here even has Xbox One X running as low as 20 FPS, though typically PS4 Pro registers the lower frame rate. Especially where cities are concerned, Microsoft's machine gives a smoother ride at 31 FPS, and it's PS4 Pro that struggles more. Neither console fully eliminates the stuttering you get while travelling quickly, but the pack leader is easy to see. If you want the best frame rate on console, it's got to be an Xbox One X, with PS4 Pro in second place, and the two base consoles duking it out for third and fourth, depending on what's on screen. A great way to put this into perspective is to show all four at once in that taxing, rainy cutscene in the opening village. Given this is the turnout, it makes sense that Warhorse Studios generally uses pre-rendered CG cutscenes for the game's big narrative beats, but in-engine cutscenes like this shows just how stark the divide is from Xbox One to Xbox One X. Overall, if you're sticking to console, there's a simple pecking order here. Kingdom Come Deliverance runs at the highest resolution at 1440p and the best frame rate on Xbox One X. However, between the sub 30 FPS drops, the obvious texture and geometry pop-in, and long loading times, it's fair to say no platform is covered in glory here. It could be a simple matter of optimization through patches that fixes this, similar to what we saw with Homefront: The Revolution in the month after release. Hopefully that's what we get here too. At its core, Kingdom Come Deliverance actually has some great ideas behind it. As an open world RPG, it's a surprisingly decent alternative to the Elder Scrolls series, with amazing backdrops and an interesting historical hook to its story. Right now, it's just the technology at its heart that's struggling to keep up. Anyway, that's all from me. If you want to see more technical analysis in this vein, do let me know in the comments. Plus, of course, feel free to like and subscribe to support the work we do. As always, I've also served this video up on our Patreon at digitalfoundry.net for any subscribers looking for the original high quality source file. But until next time, thanks for watching.